The NCAA Division I men's baseball regionals and super regionals are now complete. The College World Series is coming up this week. We'll talk with Southern Miss first baseman Chris Sargent right after this.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, and sports administrators. Now, here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hello and welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. They can also build pond dams, repair pond dams, and now can even do horizontal grinding of large wood debris piles. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or at 229-938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal is proud to be the premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Our guest today is not from the Southwest Georgia area, but my guess is a lot of young baseball players in this area want to be in the position he's been in. Southern Mississippi, the Golden Eagles, just came off of a Sun Belt Conference championship and then won the Auburn Regional, and unfortunately were eliminated in 3 games by the University of Tennessee in the Super Regional. Today, their first baseman, Chris Sargent, joins us. Chris, thanks for being with me.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Tim, for having me. I'm ready to let everyone know what it's about to play Division I ball and just kind of a little bit about my life, and I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Chris, before we get started in all the Super Regional and regional stuff, and I do want to talk some about that, I think our audience would be really interested to kind of hear how you grew up and where you grew up, when you started playing baseball. Tell us a little bit about your high school experience and then where you signed after high school. And let's end it with where you got to Southern Miss and how that was.
Yeah, growing up, I grew up in a small little town out of right by Mobile, Alabama, Wilmer, Alabama. Coming up, I started ball I was 5 or 6 years old. I felt like baseball's my life for the past 23 years, to be honest with you. And, coming up, I played at Sims Park, coming up, playing All-Stars, played with a lot of guys that I've ran back into in college. And, I played at Faith Academy High School down there on Tanner Williams Road in Mobile. And, it was the best time I ever had. And, as a freshman, I played JV, and I worked a little bit with the varsity, but I wasn't really there yet. And unfortunately, my sophomore year, I started swinging it really well, and found my way on the field. I played my sophomore year. I started first base. I played my junior year and played first base, and then I moved behind the plate my senior year. A lot of great, really fun experiences in high school. I went to the state championship 3 years in a row. Unfortunately, we lost my sophomore and junior year to the same team, Russellville. Ended up playing Russellville my senior year, and I actually able to beat them in 2 games my senior year. So that was really, really fun and a great experience. Out of high school, I wasn't a very big recruit. This is why I'm glad that I'm able to speak on this, because a lot of guys get discouraged coming out of high school, not having all these big D1 offers or all this good stuff. And all I had was 2 junior colleges, Coastal South and Bay Minette, and then LBW Wallace and Andalusia, I think.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 schools I had. You know what? I picked the one that was close enough to home, but I knew they were gonna provide what they needed for me and everything. And ended up going to Coastal for 2 years. Well, 1 full year. I played very well, and we traveled around different colleges, and it was probably some of the best times of my life. Obviously, my second year, COVID hit, and how that went with the whole world and all. My freshman year, I put up really good numbers, so I kind of felt like I was gonna start having some schools come after me a little bit, and Troy was one of my first offers, and then Southern Miss as well. that was really my only offers out of there. You know, I put up good numbers, and you know, it's always one of them things you can't never get down on yourself. I never was this big, you know, recruit, you know, perfect game, All-American, all this good stuff, you know, but you just got in the day. The only thing I can say about, you know, high schoolers and coming up, you know, just stay focused and keep working hard, because you can be overlooked, but you still end up right where you need to be, just like I did. I never dreamed that I would play for a school like Southern Miss, and I ended up there. You know, Travis Krill, shout out to him. He's been my hitting coach all 3 years there. He came out to Coastal one day, and he watched me, because Gabe Shepard, I actually played high school with Gabe. He went straight to Southern out of high school, and he put in a good word for me. And Coach Crew actually told the story the other day that the coach at Enterprise, they were in our division for junior college. He actually reached out to Crew and was like, man, you need to look at this guy. This guy's a good player. And he ended up, you know, coming and watching me, and I played really well, and he offered me kind of on the spot that day. And you know, I just I'm thankful for that experience coming up. You know, I've never didn't really play all these travel ball. You know, I know that's kind of where the world is nowadays. You got to play travel ball to get your name out there.
Yeah.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you just got to keep working hard, because you know you can't get down on yourself about it, because at the end of the day, you're the only one that can control. You can't control anything. You just go out there and play your best. And you know, if I can tell young kids anything, just work hard. You know, don't get discouraged in high school if you don't have all these big D1 offers. And, you know, the player beside you, your teammate, might not be as good as you and is getting all these better offers. It's just, it don't matter. You can't let that discourage you. You just got to keep working. It's kind of where I've been, and my story a little bit coming up.
Well, Chris, that's kind of where I wanted to lead into. Is our viewership here is comprised of a lot of kids that are probably currently playing middle school ball or high school ball, and their parents. A lot of those guys watch this program every week, and here they are seeing a guy that just got through playing all the way through to the regional tournament at the D1 level, and that's where they want to be. If you had 2 minutes to give them some advice, what do you tell those folks, that both the player and the parent?
Yeah, be honest with you, don't ever get discouraged. Don't ever, you know, feel like just because, you know, the other player on the team is having all these big, you know, scouts look at them, or big D1s look at them, and you feel like, well, what is their parents doing and I'm not doing? I don't feel like it's nothing about that. I just feel like, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to end up where God wants you to. At the end of the day, that's where at the end of the day, you need to just understand that just be on your kid's side. Don't ever, you know, feel like they ain't working hard enough, or, you know, always, you know, stay on about working. But at the end of the day, I know, you know, they know as well as I do that their kids are doing their best. And don't ever look down on junior colleges just because, you know, you might not have the big D1s and you have a few junior colleges. Don't ever give up on it, because junior college is feeders for D1s. Like, you know, Pearl River in Mississippi.
Right.
There's a bunch of guys from there that's, you know, I just met today that's going to Tennessee, that just to put us as a big program that's playing in the World Series. You know, they got guys, there's a few guys there coming to Southern Miss. They got guys going everywhere. And in Alabama, you know, there's really good junior college too. I mean, Bishop's becoming a very good one. You know, that coach at Hattenstein's doing a very good job over there with getting guys in and getting them out. I know they signed an Alabama commit, maybe last year or this year one. Just don't get discouraged. I think that's the biggest thing about, you know, parents and kids coming up. Don't get discouraged. Don't feel like you have to compete with someone else. Just be yourself and stay focused and work hard. And I think at the end of the day, if you do that, it all pay off.
Well, Chris, you've had an amazing career over there at Southern Miss. You and I met about 3 summers ago when my team was down at the Perfect Game World Series, and I've been able to follow you over the last 3 years, really 2 full baseball seasons. And if my numbers are right, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've hit 51 home runs over the last, 2.5, 3 years?
That's right, yeah.
And you've gotten to play for a real legend. In fact, I was going to tell you, when we previewed this show yesterday on Facebook, one of the comments we got is, hey, I just watched this guy on the regional, super regional, and he hit a jack against Tennessee. He's amazing. Great guess. So even folks here in Southwest Georgia, because of the coverage that you guys got, know who you are by name. But I want you to talk a little bit about the career you've had at Southern Miss, and is there a chance that Christopher Sargent could be playing pro ball next year?
Absolutely. Coming into Southern, it was different because I was during the COVID time. But yeah, getting to Coach Scott Berry, man, he's a legend. But more than anything, he is just a good person, a great man, a great leader to follow. He talks about it. Really, the biggest thing people don't realize, like, you think college coaches are just there to coach and just there to win, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, Coach Berry, yeah, he loves to win. He wins a lot. We won so many. He won, I think, maybe 400, 500 something games or something like that, wins. And but like, he makes you a better person. Like I mean, I've never seen a coach, come out to the field and get on the blower and start blowing leaves at the field like he does. That's just who he is. And Southern Miss, man, they showed him the support he deserved. Man, I can't thank him enough. If he sees this video, he means so much to me in my past career, and I can't thank him enough. But coming up throughout the years, my sophomore year, technically because of COVID, I got that year back.
Yeah,
we had a good year. We had a good run. We made it to the Ole Miss Regional. Unfortunately, came up, a game short. We lost to Ole Miss in that last game, and that was a really fun year. My first year in D1 baseball. I actually hit 16 home runs that year. But for my first year, I kind of set a legacy for myself there. And, going to the next year, I was real pumped because I knew we had a bunch of guys coming back, really good arms coming in. Ended up last year was that year that I just felt like was just that year, and we had a great run as well. We had a bunch of All-Americans on the mound, and, we had a bunch of All-Americans in the lineup. Ended up hitting 21 home runs last year, putting up probably my best in one season last year at Southern. And, it's awesome. You don't really realize, people don't see, you just see from the outside, but from the inside, it's just, it's the best place to be. The fan base is incredible. In the locker room, it's nothing but, good, joyful times. Like you understand what brotherhood is when it comes to a big club like that. And, that's the biggest thing about Southern that I've been so happy about. I felt comfortable ever since I got there. The guys has opened up. And then for me, being an older guy this past few years, I've opened up to new guys coming in. And it's just an experience that everyone, wants to, I know, be a part of. And there's plenty of D1s out there. Don't ever feel like one D1's littler than the other, because at the end of the day, I mean, we just played Tennessee. We've played Ole Miss. We've played Alabama. We've played every big Auburn. We've played every big team that there is in the SEC and soaking any other D1 school, I can't I can't thank Southern Miss enough for all they've done for me. And, I'm glad that I was able to go out with Coach Berry, because just to be there these 3 years and to see what he's done his whole career, and how he's helped me out in life and in my baseball playing. And it's going to be in good hands. Coach Christian Ostrander's a great man, just like Coach Berry, and that program is going to be in perfectly good hands.
Chris, I was going to tell you, my son-in-law, Aaron Ginn, pitched there at Southern Miss and pitched for Coach Ostrander, and he's really looking forward to watching what he can do as a head coach.
I can't wait to see it, man. I know he's been to Junior College World Series, being the head coach over at Jones, and he's been a part of a bunch of good teams, and he's made our team better coming in, being, the pitch calling that he does is unreal. Trying to face him in the fall is not fun. So I know they're going to be in good shape. But as for me, I plan on seeing what God has in store for next for me. I hope I get the opportunity to play some minor league ball and see where that can go. That's what I've always dreamed about, and that's what I want to do. And I'm just leaving it up to God. I mean, I'm probably going to be doing some workouts this summer with some teams, trying to, to get there and get to that point. And I'm just going to let God do his thing and just hope for the best.
Absolutely. Hey, our program today is also brought to you by Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance. His office is located at 925 North Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Americus. Drop by and see Marty or any of his staff, and they'll be happy to discuss your insurance needs. You can reach them at 928-3686, or again, they're located at 925 North Martin Luther King Boulevard. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Chris, I want to briefly talk about the regional tournament that you guys won. I know the Sun Belt Conference Championship was a big thing, but you being from Alabama, and I spent my college career in Alabama and several years over there, and the one thing I learned is 95% of the people over there in Alabama either pull for Alabama or Auburn. And so you got a chance to go play at Auburn, which had to be a big thrill for you, and I'm sure a lot of folks that knew you personally got a chance to go to that as well. Talk a little bit about playing with Samford and with Penn and with Auburn there at Auburn.
Yeah, it was really fun. We're actually able to stay in this nice resort, so you can't really beat that. Going into the tournament, it was very exciting for me because I've never played at Auburn. I've played at Alabama in some midweeks past few years, but I've never played at Auburn, and I was really excited to play there. And I had a lot of family there to come. A lot of my girlfriend was from around that area and was able to come, and I was glad to see that. And obviously my family came support me as well as Cassie and her family. And just playing against them teams, that's big time teams. Samford, that's a good team. They come out and beat us the first day and kind of shocked us a little bit. Not saying that they wasn't supposed to beat us or whatever, but they're a good team, and they came out and put us on the ropes. And we just had a little come to Jesus meeting after that and understood that our backs are against the wall. And we came out, and unfortunately Penn beat Auburn that first game. I feel like Auburn kind of got shocked a little bit as well. So we kind of knew going into the Auburn Southern Miss game, that was the championship game kind of.
Yeah.
And, it was a sellout crowd, an awesome fan base to play in front of,
and then you hit the first inning jack.
I did. I was able to set the tone real early that game. We got runners on, and obviously you're always trying to, man on second, get that runner in just to, help, get that established lead. And, I was able to hit it over the fence and get a couple more in. And, I really felt like that set the tone for the game. On either side, I've been on both sides. When you're in the first inning and you get down 3, it's like, oh crap. Like,
yeah,
it's tough to, all right, we got to do this. You have a lot of game left, but it still puts a little more pressure on you. And yeah, I was glad I was able to do that. And we ended up getting the win that game. And, it was very exciting, but we still had more to go. We had to come back the next day, and Penn actually beat Samford, so they went 2-0. And, everyone probably underestimated them, man. They were a good team.
They really are. And I thought Penn had really high level pitching.
Yeah, absolutely. Their guys were dudes, man. Like, at that, for some reason at their school, once you graduate, you can't play that senior year. So yeah, I think they got a bunch of graduates that's going to go to these big time schools, man. They had big time arms. And, Samford, we had to come back. We had to play them again. Ended up beating them and eliminating them. And then we had to beat Penn twice. We came out the first game. We knew Penn was going to throw some good arms, but they obviously didn't throw their best arm that game because they had that little leeway. So they, we came out. It was early on. It was a really tight game. And, toward the end of the game, we started opening it up a little bit. And I think they started kind of throwing some guys that don't really throw much. And we ended up, I think, beating them 11-3 or something like that night. And, it was an early turnaround. I think we got home that night at 12 o'clock, had to turn back around the next day and play at 1, had to be there real early. And once again, though, on the way home, we all got, when we got back to the hotel, we all just was like, all right, this is it. Their backs are against the wall now, just like ours was. And they're going to come out and play hard just like we are. It was kind of funny because, like, the whole series, every away team won. Like, no home team won the whole entire time, except for our final game. We were the home team going into it. And, they threw their guy, and he was really sharp. Early on, his stuff looked really good. And, I think they got up 5-1 or 5-0 on us early. And that's when we had to dig deep that game, man. We had to come out and every inning try to get a little bit back, and I think we started catching some runs, and then they went to their bullpen. We got to their start and went to one of their best bullpen guys, and unfortunately we were able to get to him real early. I think that he might have went one inning or so. We was
That's
able
right.
to get 4 or 5 hits, and actually it translated to them runs. And ended up, I don't even remember the final score, but I think we pulled it out, and with really good pitching, we brought back some of our dudes that game as well. We all just had to piece it together, and even Penn's fans, I was happy to see how their fan base even traveled with them as well as ours. Like, man, I can't even explain just how great our fan base is. Like, that last game, it felt like a home game for us, and we was at Auburn. Like, the only game I felt like we was outmatched was the Auburn versus us game, but we still had a whole section yelling and supporting us, and it was just it was almost breathtaking, amazing. It was just I can't explain it in words. It was just awesome to play somewhere that I've always dreamed about playing playing a series one day, and I finally got to do that, and it was really fun.
Hey, Chris, so one of the neat things about this program every week is we have a local radio station in a town right next to us in Montezuma, WMNZ, AM 1050, and they take the audio off of this program every week and play it on their radio station. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Lance Teal and his staff for doing that. Catch this program Friday on WMNZ, AM 1050. Christopher, every week, when I talk to a guest, one of the neat things I like to do is give you a chance to talk about that support network that you have behind the scenes. You and I actually met because your girlfriend is kin to my wife. Your girlfriend's mother is my wife's first cousin. And so we've kind of had that connection. And I know Cassie has been there for you for a long time. I don't know much about the other folks that have been supporting you behind the scenes. So why don't you tell us about that support network, that family that you have behind the scenes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, Cassie, she supported me since day one with this going. This every year she's did her best to be at every game, and I appreciate her and thankful for her, and she knows that. And as well as my family, my mom and dad, and my sister and my brother. Pat, they've always supported me from the day one. They've sacrificed so many things for me. And, coming up, sacrificing, things that they might want to do, but put money toward me. And, I've coming up, I've never felt more thankful and supported by someone else. And, my family, unfortunately, was able to, be almost for my senior year, be at every single game. And, that meant so much to me, more than they'll ever know. And I just, man, and actually it was kind of cool. My grandfather, my dad's dad, passed away, I think, about a year and a half, somewhere around there. And my grandmother, my dad's mom, was actually able to travel a little bit with him this year, and because she's never
I know that had to be awesome.
Yeah, she's never really been able to be involved. She's always had to take care of my grandfather and all kind of stuff. But it was real cool to finally, my senior year, have her involved, and because I know she wants to be at every game, and she supports me, and as well as my mom's mom, she's always been there to support. She always can't be at every game, and it is what it is. But I know behind the scenes, her and my aunt, that they get together at my aunt's house and watches every single game and sits there and supports me and screams at the TV. And I know, and I appreciate all them little things, as well as Cassie's family. They've been so supportive, as well as some of her friends. Glenn and Amy. They do their best to, whenever Glenn's off, to get up to Hattiesburg or to Auburn, or just to travel as well, because I know they love to support me, and I thank them for that, as well as.
And I know Brad, isn't Brad a big Southern Miss fan?
Oh yeah, Brad. He was able to get to some games, and I'm thankful for that as well. He works a lot. He's got a lot going on with having a family now, and which that's good. That's awesome for him. But I just I've had a lot of support all the way through. Like I can't even name everyone, but within the immediate family, yeah, definitely my family. I can't thank them enough for just all they've sacrificed for me throughout my whole life, and just to be able to have the career I did. And I know they're very happy with how everything went, and now we're just going to sit back and kind of see what the future holds.
So, Chris, we have a viewership every week of somewhere between 12 and 1,500. Hopefully, we'll get a few more even this week. So you got a lot of folks that are going to see this, and they now know you kind of casually. They've seen you play on TV in the regional and the super regional, but that's kind of the limit of what they know. Now you get a chance to tell these folks, what do you want folks that just know you casually? What do you want them to know about Christopher Sargent? And if baseball doesn't work out, what's the plan after baseball?
Yeah. If at the end of the day, life's about, being good to people. And I take pride in that. I take pride in, being good to people, understanding that, God's the only thing that matters in this world. If anyone can take anything from me, it's that, God's important. He's always there for you no matter what. And that's kind of how I live my life. I've always been overlooked, but God's always made a way. And, I can't thank him enough, obviously, for that. You can't ever thank him enough for a lot of things. But, pride and, understanding that, God's everything. And tell anyone anything, it's that, count your blessings every day because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. And that's just a little bit about me. If, my happiness is, in him, and he's blessed me to stay in.
There we go. I think we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we got you back. Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to have you today. I want to thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure to get to know you too, and I look forward to watching what the future is going to hold for you. Good luck as you look toward professional baseball. And again, man, thanks for carrying yourself with integrity. That's what this program is about. Hopefully, we'll have an influence on young people to carry themselves well in whatever they do, whether that's in sports or at the workplace or in life. Do it all with integrity. But thanks, man, for joining me.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Hey, we want to thank you for making the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal, a part of your weekly routine. I need you to do me a favor. Make sure and go to YouTube, type in Integrity Sports Podcast, and hit the subscribe button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and I promise we won't load you up with notifications. But for my friend Chris Sargent, I'm your host, Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.